Well, for more, let's go to New York and speak with criminal defense attorney Vinoo. Vinoo, thanks for joining us. I think, like many people, when I heard this news, my first thought was the surprise that Ghislaine Maxwell was still in the U.S. Open to arrest. But I think a lot of people are asking, why did it take so long for her to be arrested, considering the allegations that have been out there against her for so long?
Well, that's a great question, and it remains to be seen why this prosecution was even brought in New York. Last year, when Jeff Epstein was arrested, you're talking about things that go back 15, 20 years. Now, with Ghislaine Maxwell's arrest, you're talking about incidents that go back 24 to 27 years ago, or 23 to 26 years ago. This case is going to be a very interesting one because the U.S. attorney called it the prequel to the Jeff Epstein case. Last year, before Jeff Epstein died, his attorneys had a lot to work with in terms of whether there was interstate acts and they could, whether they could prove this stuff, because the same thing that they said in the Jeff Epstein indictment, which you and I spoke about last year, almost the same time last year, is this similar situation is almost the same here. You're talking about cash payments made to these alleged victims. Where's the trail? I mean, this isn't like today when you can have cell phone trails and basically go back and detect anything or find anything. It's going to be very interesting to see how they prove this case or how they intend to prove this case. I think partly they've arrested her and added all these charges in the hopes that she will bring down some of the people that you mentioned. Prince Andrew.
Well, wait, hold on. Vinoo, before you jump in, I want to ask you about that. Obviously, you mentioned there have been allegations. I stress allegations made by at least one of the victims against some high-profile individuals, including the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. Is it possible that prosecutors are going to offer her some kind of deal in return for testimony? That is one of the avenues at play here. Absolutely.
I mean, I see that as a serious potential for her to do that, for the government to do that. I mean, the case against Jeff Epstein wasn't just about Jeff Epstein. It was about everyone else and Epstein's circle, and that ended, obviously, to some extent with the death of Jeff Epstein. But now with Maxwell in custody, and these are different women. So Jeff Epstein had multiple women in the indictment against him, I think 3, and she definitely has what they call victim 1, 2, and 3. And again, that's a presumptive term. And the press conference today was unethical. You have the FBI director, the acting FBI director, calling her a villain. One of the things that's really important in these conferences, and there's a rule in the Southern District here in Manhattan, it's a walking distance from my office, is that you don't poison the well. But they did that today. And so it's going to be very difficult for Maxwell to get a fair trial. But getting back to your original question, yeah, I mean, I think they've went after Epstein and they went after Maxwell because they want to go after other people.
Right. I'm reminding viewers you are a defense attorney, Vinoo, so let's make that clear. But given a lot of it...
And I uphold the U.S. Constitution, Calev.
Okay. We only have about 30 seconds left. I mean, do you think this case, it's going to weigh on victims' testimony, that really she is better off pleading some kind of deal?
Until the discovery and to see what case the government actually has, there's really no reason for her to plead guilty early on and try to strike a deal, because you're talking about such old accusations. And how are they going to be? What kind of corroborating evidence do they have? And where are the payments, if they were made in cash, it's going to be very difficult for prosecutors. So what they do, though, is force somebody. Right. She's probably going to be held without bail. And that's going to put pressure on her because she wants to get out.
Right.
And that's how they do things here in America.
I think one thing we know for sure, she's going to be very closely watched in that prison cell for sure. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Vinoo Varghese, thanks for joining us on The Rundown. And thank you for joining us on The Run. That's our show for today. Stay healthy and catch The Rundown.